All right, Coach. Today I'm joined by West Shamokin girls varsity basketball head coach Frank Nagy here on High Top Sports Network for a preseason interview. Coach, I'm going to lead with the same question I've led with every coach so far. I mean, how have you been able to handle this unprecedented time, the pause? How have you been able, obviously it's been several challenges you and your staff have faced, not being able to be face to face with your girls. Just kind of give me an overview of how you've been able to handle things.
Yeah, no, I mean, no doubt it's tough for everybody. You feel the most for the players going through all of this. I can't imagine what it would be like if I was in high school, and this was happening to me. So you feel for them. It's weird timing. We got the last of our fall sport athletes back after the girls volleyball team lost on that Saturday. The following week, we had it turned out to be our last open gym with everybody there. And one of the things I said to them was that we don't know how the next few months are gonna transpire, but we just have to focus on what's in our control. That's the biggest thing. There's the powers that be above us are going to determine what's going to happen here moving forward, but we just have to prepare as though we were going to start day one and cruise through like normal. Obviously, that didn't happen. So we're relying on them doing some things on their own. I've pushed out some dribbling drills, some shooting drills, some workout videos, and things that they also used over the summer in volleyball as well. So I was able to push that stuff out. We have a Google Classroom, so we could do that. They check off on a worksheet what they've done on a daily basis, just so I can see what they're doing physically to stay with it. I do know a lot of them are playing on their own. They're getting their shots up. They're doing what workouts they need to do to get ready to go on Monday. And at this point, we're just planning for Monday and wanting to get it going. Obviously, who knows how it's going to turn out, Monday and thereafter. But again, as we said to the players beforehand, we have to assume we're starting Monday, hitting the ground running, getting our scrimmages in, getting our first game under our belt, and moving forward. So just trying to handle what we can control at this point in time.
Right. You mentioned that girls volleyball team lost in the state tournament to the eventual state champion, Clarion. How tough is that for you to get? Because several girls on your team were also on that volleyball team. A lot of multi-sport athletes at West Shamokin, being a smaller school. But how do you get those girls to be able to switch gears in such a short amount of time, especially with the fact that you and your coaches aren't able to see them on a daily basis?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. To be specific, I think it's about 14 of our 18 girls who play volleyball. Yeah. And then three of the other ones, I think they'll run cross country and stuff. So, I mean, most of our squad, they play fall sports, and that's what I encourage. I think at West Shamokin, fortunately, we have coaches that I think all the coaches support and encourage our girls to play multiple sports. I don't just want them to play volleyball or run cross country. I want them to play softball as well. I want them to be coached by somebody different. I want them to be pushed there. The physical things that they work on, volleyball, jumping, lateral movements, teamwork, softball, same thing. Those are all going to help each other. And I know the other coaches view basketball as a beneficial sport for the girls as well. The up and down, the lateral movements, and the physicality. So, number one, I'm all about it. And obviously, I always wish the best for the fall sports to go as deep as they can and hopefully win a state championship. From a basketball perspective, it can be tough getting them, right before the season starts. But at the same time, our girls have been so dedicated over the summer that we really get in the coaching and the planning that we need to in terms of plays, defenses. They know the drills. We usually get a lot of work, and obviously this summer was tough. We can only go from beginning of beginning of July to mid-August, but usually we're able to get a lot in, and then they kind of get sent off to their fall sports after that. So I really feel that mentally they're prepared come start of the season. They know what to expect. They know what we need to do. It's getting them in basketball shape. There's no doubt about it. In terms of female sports. We don't have a female soccer team, but like in terms of female sports, basketball is a different animal in terms of the shape that you have to be in.
Right.
There's no pauses. It's up and down. You're playing offense. You're playing defense. You're doing everything. So that's the toughest part is just them transitioning whatever sport they're playing into that. And you can even say the same thing with the cross country or something. That's long endurance running. That's not short sprints changing direction and everything repeatedly. So they're all different. But mentally, they're always good. It's physically the first couple weeks of our conditioning stuff that I know the girls don't look forward to. But they understand the importance of it to get going there.
Yeah, I ran cross country in high school before basketball season 2, and you'd think you'd be in great shape, but to get into basketball game shape, it definitely takes a while to get your legs under you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different, and I've heard that a lot from we've had more and more girls running cross country these last couple of years, and that's the same thing. Their cross country season ended. They came to the first open gym and were like, "Oh, I thought I'd be better prepared for this."
Yeah,
and it's it's just a little wake up call. But that's the sport that we chose. So.
Definitely. Now, looking forward to this year, I mean, a year ago, you guys had a winning record, 4th place in the Heritage Conference, lost to Richland in the district playoffs. You return a solid core this season. Can you kind of break down your starting lineup, people that are established, and maybe some position battles you have going in?
Yeah, for sure. This year's going to be a fun one from that standpoint. We did lose 2 seniors with Shayla and Shelby Cessna, but with only losing 2 players, while they were big parts of our team, only losing 2 people, we have a lot of continuity. We lost in the second round of playoffs last year against, or it was
Cambria Heights.
Yeah, Cambria Heights. So we did get that win over Richland, and through a couple of playoff games with them, I feel that we got a lot of good experience. Actually, Cambria Heights was in the state semifinal, and when the season stopped, they went on to win the district. And then we're in the state semi, and I had a feeling that they were that capable team. So I feel that our season last year really prepared us coming into this off season. It's going to be interesting personnel wise for sure. You can assume Lexi Young down low, who's started since she was a freshman. You can assume Abby Osterling and Sophie Fizzero. Abby at the point guard, Sophie at the shooting guard. They both started since they were sophomores. Those aren't secrets there. Lydia McElwain last year ended up earning a starting spot. She played a lot down low, the 4 spot for us. It was out of necessity. We weren't real big size wise last year, but it was a benefit to us because she's so fast and dynamic, and she can shoot it and she can drive it, that we essentially had 4 guards on the court, which made us difficult to defend for a lot of teams. Given how certain things, losing Shelby Cessna at the guard definitely hurts us. So there's a possibility. I'm hoping to be able to move Lydia from the post out to the guard, which is where she really, where she really should be. And that opens up a post spot coming into this year. And that to me is wide open in terms of starting spot. Sophia Getty, somebody who's a junior that I don't think a lot of people know about that has potential. Bailey Conrad as a sophomore. Lily Jordan as a freshman. I know she started making a name for herself in volleyball. She really started coming along and playing as a freshman. She's very capable in basketball. Athletically, she can absolutely compete at that level. It's interesting to see what happens here. Brittany Coleman's a senior that could be there, but we also have a situation where if we do decide to keep Lydia down low, Allie Schulteis is a senior guard that can play there. Brittany Coleman's a senior big/guard that we could have there as well, and we have flexibility with that lineup. So it's going to be fun to see how it turns out, because I don't know how it's going to turn out. I think the girls, I made it clear to them at the open gym and they know it. I feel that as coaching staff, we're very fair and we give them opportunities to compete. And the ones that turn out on top. I don't care if it's a freshman. I don't care if it's a senior. It's who earns it. And I think that's something they've learned to realize, and that it helps drive them at practices. So while I'm thinking through all the possible scenarios in terms of a starting lineup, it's going to be fun to see how it shakes out. And then, I don't expect the same starting lineup to go throughout the entire season. We've had that in past years. Just given the dynamics of our team, I could see a lot of girls moving up and down into those spots. So no, it'll be interesting to see. But I think we have a lot of experience coming back, and in turn, that's actually made it a lot easier for us during this time than I think a lot of other teams, because the girls know the girls know what to expect. The learning curve isn't there like it might be for a lot of teams that lost a bunch of seniors. So I feel that while everybody's behind the eight ball this year, I think that that we're better poised to be able to hit the ground running here.
Yeah, one of my favorite qualities about you, Coach, is your attention to detail. You're a very detail-oriented guy, and you mentioned that flexibility with the lineup. How have you taken this kind of downtime, this pause, to just go wild with possibilities for lineups? And are you looking to implement any new wrinkles to your offense or defense?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the lineups, that honestly, while it's unclear, it makes it more exciting. Just in terms of the unknown. Everybody gets exciting about the unknown. It's scary, sure, but there's been years, as I mentioned, I knew my starting five, and I knew the couple girls that were going to be playing and stuff, which is great to have. I mean, if you have a solid squad and you're going to be doing all that, then you're obviously poised for success in most cases. This makes it, as I said, day one it's going to be really fun for me, not just as a coach, but to take a step back and watch them go. We have some young, capable, and it reminds me of a few years ago when we had Gabby Olinger and Olivia Fizzero and Shelby Klauser and Jane DiFilippo. They were seniors, and Sophie Fizzero and Abby Osterling, they were freshmen. We had a lot of seniors that were talented, and then we had some talented youth. And not knowing what youth are going to rise to the occasion and be able to crack those varsity spots. We know they're going to be playing JV. We know they're going to be major role players in JV. But going into the season, what players are capable of, but you don't know if they'll get there. And there's always girls that surprise you. There's always girls that you're thinking, well, maybe by juniors and definitely senior year, they'll be able to help. And sometimes they come out and they're ready to go as freshmen or sophomore. So in that way, it's definitely interesting. In terms of game planning, you had said doing some wrinkles and things. We seem to change. We have a core group of plays, and then we have other ones building off of it based on our personnel. And the last couple years, we've had to go to strong guard sets, a lot of motions, a lot of handoffs, a lot of spacing to drive. With the development of some of our younger bigs, our depth at the post is much deeper than it's been in the last 3 years. Really, since we lost Gabby Olinger and Katie Glover and Jasa Huth, since we lost those girls, our depth down low hasn't been as deep. We now have that back, which now brings back some of the plays that we used to run back then. A lot of screens, a lot of cross screens in the post that a lot of teams don't do that we used to do back then, given that personnel. So they're not new plays necessarily. They're just plays that the girls know that we haven't run in the capacity that we used to. They know what it is. They know it's in our offense, and there's some plays that we'll be using a lot more than what we did last year, just given the different personnel sets that we can get.
Right. Now, you mentioned Abby Osterling, obviously tremendous volleyball player, all-state. I think the high top guys and I kind of agreed that she was the best volleyball player we saw on the court this season. Just tremendously athletic. Talk about her athleticism and also about her leadership now that she's your point guard, she's running the show. Just talk about the athleticism coupled with her leadership.
Her leadership and work ethic are incredible. And I mean, and there's no doubt about it. You look at her and and before you see her play, you're like, oh, she's decently tall for a guard, and then she's skinny, and then you see her jump, you see her move, you see some of these things that she does, and it's just wow, she can compete. She's a natural athlete that she can compete in any sport. Her work ethic is through the roof. She's gonna work her butt off. She'll run through a brick wall for you. You know, Last year she played at Penn's Manor, diagnosed with the flu, the entire game nearly. Threw up in the locker room after the game. And rarely was she ever even going to ask for a break. I mean, it's mentally she is so strong and that type of competitor that I didn't even realize the magnitude of it until we saw how sick she got after the game. And I'm like, Abby, if you're that sick, you need to tell me. I didn't want to let the team down. I didn't want to, I didn't want to come. I mean, that's what her focus is, for better or for worse. And that's, for better most of the time. So, no, it's a joy coaching her. She's been outstanding. She's been very dedicated. That's one thing. Obviously, she's very good at volleyball, but she doesn't miss a basketball workout if she can. If she can be there, she's that type of girl. She's that type of athlete, and that's what it's been huge. Point guard's a major position. I mean, to me, as a former point guard, I'm going to say it as well. But point guard is the most important position offensively on the court. And I feel that she's an extension of me out there, and that's we've been able to have that since I accepted the position. Since I got this, we've had that a solid point guard the whole way through, and it helps. I mean that's what we have to do, and Abby does. Abby does what I ask her to do without arguments, and we'll discuss some things. But no, she's fantastic to coach.
Now, you mentioned previously in this interview, when I asked you about this season coming in, you kind of smiled and said it's going to be exciting. Not to put you on the spot too much, but what are your expectations for this year?
Yeah, I mean, part of what makes it exciting is how difficult the Heritage is going to be. You said about us finishing fourth last year, and I thought we were a pretty good basketball team last year. The Heritage is strong, and District 6 is strong. As I mentioned, Cambria Heights, the team we lost to, which we were right there in the third quarter, game got away from us. They were still in the semis. And in terms of the Heritage, we finished fourth. United and Penn's Manor were at the top, and then Homer Center was third. Well, United lost one girl of their top 8. Homer Center lost one starter, and Penn's Manor lost. They did lose 3 starters. They had a strong JV, and I know Jason, and they're going to be ready to go. They're actually practicing, so they're the only team able to practice. Purchased Line actually beat Penn's Manor last year, and we were fortunate enough to handle them, but they lost one starter. So I mean, they have nearly everybody coming back as well. So while I'm excited about what we can do, what makes it even more exciting is the competition level. And I think most competitive people, you want to go against the best, you want to play against the best, and that's what I'm excited about with not just our team but the conference in general. I hope we don't finish fourth this year, but realistically, I mean that's not out of the realm of possibility, which is crazy to think of. All these girls coming back, that's how strong it's going to be. I see 1 through 5 being jammed together in the Heritage, and it's going to be exciting. So I'm just looking forward to all that and what we can do out there.
Now, how does your competitive nature and the competitive nature of your coaching staff kind of flow through the girls? Because I'm sure you've obviously made them aware, and they are aware just from their own personal experience on the court, that the Heritage is going to be tough. Like you said, you could see the top 5 teams jam-packed together. How can you translate your competitive nature as a head coach into the girls so that they display it on the floor?
Yeah, early in my career, I think those girls that I had coached several years ago, whenever I told them that we absolutely can compete with anybody in the state, they believed me and they knew it. This group, because they started, I said, Lexi started as a freshman when Sophie and Abby started as sophomores. So right there, back then, it was a very young core with role players around. And I don't know that they believed they were varsity players. They were like, well, I'm in a varsity game, but look at all these, like, I can't believe it. I'm a freshman and sophomore starting varsity.
Right.
I think it was, and as coaches were beating into their heads over and over, you're varsity players because you're at this level. I mean, this is your ability. Last year, I think a couple weeks into the season, once we started having success, is when it clicked with them. I think they stopped acting like varsity players and started playing like varsity players. And that was something where they finally admitted and realized, oh yeah, we took United to the wire. United is supposed to be the best team, one of the best teams in the state AAA, and we're right with them. Yes, we're right with them. That's the level. You guys are that good too. And so I think it's that constant push and that constant trying to make them realize, as coaches, you don't want to hype up the other team too much, but you're not going to talk down about them. But the biggest thing is, I think the girls understand that as a coaching staff, we're realistic with them, whether they want to hear it or not. We are realistic, and we're going to tell them the honest truth. And I think they're realizing that when we say they can play with anybody, they can play with anybody. So it's just that constant push, constantly pushing them to try to understand where they are and expect to win.
Definitely. Well, Coach Nagy, this is a High Top Sports Network interview. We like to have a little fun here, so I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions. Some sports related,
okay.
Some maybe not sports related. First question: favorite television show of all time?
The Office.
Nice.
For sure.
Great call.
Yeah. That or South Park, but I have to go with The Office.
Yeah, I've watched The Office several times on Netflix, and one of the best parts about it is, I mean, of course, you need to watch the series to follow the storylines, but one of the best parts about it is you can pick up any episode, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's on Comedy Central like every other day.
Yeah.
So what I'll do in the evening is it'll pop on, I'll pause it, I'll do other stuff, and then I'll come back at night after the little one goes to bed, and my wife and I will watch a few episodes in a row. I mean, that's it. It doesn't matter if it's season 6 or season 1, wherever it is, it's hilarious. And then it's one of the shows where once you get to know the characters, then it amplifies what it is. The little nuances that you might miss one time through. When you see them the 50th time, you even still pick new stuff up. So I mean that's why to me it's my favorite shows. I gauge that on, if it's on, do you turn it on? And the answer is yes. So that has to be it.
Definitely. Okay, one time you favorited a tweet of mine where I did a screenshot of the Notorious B.I.G. And I said, this is on the Never Skip Club. And you favorited that tweet. Not a lot of people did, but you did. So I'm going to ask you, favorite hip-hop artist of all time?
Tupac. And that it goes with the Biggie thing, because that's, Tupac is the man and still alive. And
definitely in Cuba.
Yeah, with Elvis. Growing up, those were influential. Tupac, Biggie, Eminem, those things were influential coming up through and everything. So that's why I gave some love to the Biggie one, and Puff Daddy. Well, when he was Puff Daddy, obviously he did. He changed it and stuff. But Tupac was always the favorite. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What jersey number did you wear during your playing days, and why did you choose that number?
Number 10, and that was for every sport. I wore number 10 for basketball, for baseball. The year I played soccer, I played. I wore 10 for everything from the whole way up. I chose it because that was my uncle Frank Brocchetti. That was his basketball jersey number. He had a different baseball one, but that was his basketball one. And that's my namesake. That's who I was named after. He died in Vietnam. It was my mom's brother. Mm-hmm. And that was his basketball number. And I remember seeing a picture whenever I was young. It was him dribbling a basketball at half court at Shannock Valley High School whenever he played in high school. And I was like, that picture is awesome. I mean, he just has a Shannock jersey on, number 10. He's dribbling the ball. The ball's actually like perfectly in his hand when the picture was taken. And I chose number 10. And actually, whenever I was in elementary, I need to find it. They retook that picture of me in my 10 jersey at half court at Shannock dribbling.
Oh, that's awesome.
The same one. But yeah, so that's why I chose number 10. And that's what I've worn forever. Even to this day, I played softball and I wore number 10. If I play in the Toronto Heights YMCA league, I wear number 10. So I mean, it's always been my number.
Yeah, that's a great story. It's another thing we share. I chose number 44 from my uncle, Steve Aiden, who played at Dayton back in the day. And, again, I saw a picture of him in a scrapbook that my grandmother had where he's like driving to the hoop. There's a guy all over him and he's going up strong. And I just thought, wow, number 44, that's the number I'm always going to wear. And it has been.
Yeah. And it's amazing. I mean, there are certain, and I believe it, I know people who, there's no connect. I have girls right now. There's no connection with numbers. We're picking uniforms and stuff. But I remember, even when I was in elementary playing Little League, the kids were like, "Oh, number 10, Frank." Like I was in the back of the line, Frank, number 10. Oh, well, wait, we'll save it for you. Like it was
awesome.
like known that's what it was. And there's some things like that you just make a connection to, and that was it for me.
Certainly. Okay, next question. What is a hobby or an activity that you partake in or you're involved in that might surprise people?
Might surprise people. I'm a pretty big video game nerd. That's one thing that I think a lot of people. Obviously, I like to still play basketball and I haven't played softball in a while, but I would do active things. I hunt and fish and stuff, but that's still pretty normal stuff around here. But video games is something that, since I was young, I've always had a passion for. I had two older brothers, which helped. That they always had system. So from the moment I can remember, my brothers were playing regular Nintendo. I got into Super Nintendo, and then I could finally get my own 64. Now I do have PS4. I haven't got one of the new systems, but I still gravitate toward the Nintendo genre. I have a Switch. I play Breath of the Wild. I play Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. Those things currently. 64 and Super Nintendo are the two systems that I have really the most passion for. I've played them all. I still have my Xbox. I still have PlayStation 2 and 3 and all that stuff. But probably have about like 65-ish games from my 64. With all the 6 controllers, have all the essential games that randomly I'll have. Some buddies will get together and we'll bust out some GoldenEye or some NFL Blitz or Mario Kart and stuff like
WrestleMania?
that. So, I have several. I have WCW versus NWO.
Oh, nice.
I have WrestleMania 2000. WrestleMania, is it 2001? Yeah, I have several of the wrestling ones as well. So yeah. Oh, I got all the essentials for 64. That's for sure.
Did you ever own a Sega Dreamcast? Because after PlayStation 1 came out, Sega came out with the Dreamcast, and that's when I was in college, and I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. Because I had the Genesis my buddy had the Genesis. My mom wouldn't allow it, but my buddy had the Genesis, and I was like, oh, Sega's going to come out with something great, and it wasn't great.
It was not. I actually currently have a Sega Genesis. I'm sorry. I have a Genesis right now. I didn't have the Dreamcast. My buddy in high school had the Dreamcast. I had a GameCube. So we would get together and we could play those things. So I did play the 2Ks and everything. We were really into creating our own people. So for both any NBA 2K, we would create our players, usually based off of like teachers or something like that, something weird. And it would, so I definitely had my days with Dreamcast, and yeah, it only lasted 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it didn't last long. It definitely didn't last long.
It didn't have long shelf life. Yeah.
Okay, final question for you, Coach. What is the best part about being a coach at West Shamokin?
The community aspect of it. I went to West Shamokin. I went to Shamokin Elementary. West Shamokin's first year of existence was my 7th grade year, so I actually didn't go to one of the other high schools that merged. I was the first class to go through. We live out here now. We live a few hundred yards from my wife's childhood home. We live 5 miles from my childhood home, and we know everybody. We know everybody out here, and I've always felt, obviously I'm in education as well, and I've always felt, it's important to try to have a positive impact on the youth, and for me, trying to have a positive impact on the local youth that in the area that I grew up in. I know the families, I know the parents. It means a lot, to have the opportunity to do that. I think everybody can probably think of a coach or teacher that had a massive impact on their life. And if they didn't have a massive impact on their life, at least you remember some values that they instilled in you back then. And you might not remember anything about what they taught or what they did. But there's always people that you can do that. And that's kind of how I feel in both education and in basketball, is if I can have an impact on a couple kids that I've had impacted me growing up by some adults, that then that's fulfilling. And that's a big reason that not only I got into the profession, but also excuse me, wanted to be around the area in Armstrong County, because this is home, and these are the students and the families that I want to serve.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much to West Shamokin girls varsity basketball head coach Frank Nagy. Coach, great talking to you, and I really look forward to seeing you on the court in person. I hope it's soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for doing this. Appreciate all you do. I think it's an awesome addition to our area. This is something that has been long overdue in Armstrong County. I think back to my playing days, how jealous I am of the student athletes now that we didn't have something like this back whenever I was in school. I just want to make sure you guys know that it's greatly appreciated out here, everything that you do. And wish you guys the best, and always want to help out with anything I can to help you guys go.
Oh, definitely, Coach. We appreciate you. Thanks again for joining me, Josh Shreckengost, here on High Top Sports Network. West Shamokin girls varsity basketball head coach Frank Nagy. Thanks again, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.